250 million doll hairs. $250 million. $250 million. Ladies and gentlemen, come on in here before I take a little break while we're sitting here talking about Kanye West and all of that, and of course, the powers that be trying to silence him, right? The powers that be trying to silence Kanye West, right? And interesting that it's not so much, Jewish people aren't really going live making videos against Kanye. I don't see really. I don't see any Jewish people making videos about how he's so anti-Semitic. But the anti-Semite part is one thing. He's got another issue on his hands, ladies and gentlemen. And this is Kanye West's issue. As you know, anybody can get sued, right? For the most part. Not anybody, but if you're sued and it has no real foundation, the case will just get tossed out. No big deal. But the more Kanye speaks, the more he increases his chances of bothering somebody who might be hurt. The more he speaks, the more he increases his chances of lawyers listening to what he's saying, and lawyers sometimes convincing people that maybe they got a lawsuit. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but hello. If you're here, let me know. Leave a message in the chat. As you all know, I am legally trained. I'm not out here as a lawyer in court or anything like that. But I am interested in the law, as every single person should be. Some people would say, especially every single black male, should be aware of what the law is. And the law that we're dealing with here now, based on Kanye's Drink Chumps interview, the issue now is, the daughter of George Floyd's baby mama and the baby mama, most likely, are suing Kanye West for $250 million. For what, you might ask? Let's take a look at it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. A lot of this stuff. We'll look at the Rolling Stone, or should we look at Complex? Let's look at Complex because, I just feel like looking at Complex for some reason, at the article, and just to take a look at it. What we're going to do is take a look at the Rolling Stone article, which I will have in the description once this is all done, ladies and gentlemen. Again, let me know you here. Hello, anybody watching? Or are you just going to sit there? The lawsuit over the rapper's false claims on George Floyd's death, ladies and gentlemen, is right here. This is what it is. The family of George Floyd is planning to sue Kanye West and his associates for false statements about Floyd's death. Roxy Washington is George Floyd's baby mama. She plans to file the suit. As you know, Floyd's people, everyone, nobody's been taken care of by Black Lives Matter, really. At least I don't remember. So they've got to come up. There's got to be some sort of win here for the Floyd family, and they're going after Kanye West. Very conveniently. The family is accusing West and his business partners and his associates of harassment, misappropriation, defamation, and infliction of emotional distress. The lawyers involved say Kanye's comments are repugnant, and it's a repugnant attempt to discount George Floyd's life and to profit from his inhumane death. Now, if you ask me, it seems as if Black Lives Matter is the one that's profited from his inhumane death. But they are going to hold Mr. West accountable for his flagrant remarks against Floyd's legacy. Enigma, what's happening, man? What's happening? It's important to read straight from the actual source, not just some news channel, you want to see it from the source, any paperwork that they might have. You want to take a look at that, and here it is. Well, it's just a release. It's not exactly paperwork because, as it says, they are preparing. So this is sort of a press release preparing for a lawsuit against Kanye West, right? It's a forthcoming lawsuit against Kanye. So this is new. This is different. They made a press release letting the whole world know and the media know. This Witherspoon Law Group and Dixon attorneys at law. Forthcoming lawsuit against Kanye West seeking $250 million. And we already have, wait, Enigma says Yeezy quoted a documentary. The judge will dismiss the case. Well, yeah. Well, you know how it is, Enigma. Let's just say the family is upset, right? Let's just say the family is really upset, and that the mother, the baby mom, and the daughter, let's just say they really, really pissed off, right? And they really want to try to bring some justice, right? Man, they would sue whoever made that documentary too. If they were really serious, they would sue whoever made the documentary, and maybe they would sue Candace Owens. So that's going to be our homework, Enigma. We're going to look at Candace. We're going to look at Candace Owens' documentary because I already saw it, right? I saw it once, the documentary by Candace Owens. They talk about George Floyd's death, all right. They talk about George Floyd's death. Oh, okay. So it was that documentary that okay. So I remember now. So it was that documentary, right? All right, all right. For some reason I was thinking, is there some other documentary that Kanye's talking about? So he was talking about this one that came out, and it's all out pretty much on YouTube right now. You don't have to pay. So this seems like a real shabby. Oh no! Look at this. Oh man, the attorneys are right here involved in all of this, right? Attorneys would pretty much do anything, right? During the podcast interview, Kanye West stated what they call malicious falsehoods about George Floyd to profit from Mr. Floyd's horrendous death and his family's trauma. The full interview has since been removed. The interest of the child our priority, George Floyd's child. And we don't know how young or how old she is. George Floyd's daughter is being re-traumatized by Kanye West's comments. And he's creating an unsafe and healthy environment for her. Kanye's comments are repugnant. And as you all know, ladies and gentlemen, the Kanye West was taken down from Twitter, suspended, restricted on Instagram. So that already alleviated whatever concerns this daughter may have. But the daughter may actually be feeling some type of way. But whether or not they can get some sort of relief from court is a whole other situation. They've got to actually show beyond words that the daughter is re-traumatized. And they've got to kind of show that Kanye West may have profited off of the statement. They've got to show, right, that this was some sort of, when you call it defamation, that means you were malicious. You were taking what is known, reversing it. So this is going to be strange, as Enigma says in the chat. This may be dismissed by a judge, but in the meantime, what they're trying to do, right, is build up to it, build up, try to get the public involved, trying to sway the opinions of XYZ judge. But you and I both know, right, that Kanye, as was said before, was merely quoting a documentary that's out, and nobody is suing the documentary. In that documentary, I don't recall seeing George Floyd's baby mom or George Floyd's daughter, but I could be mistaken. Maybe I missed something, as it was an hour and a half or so long documentary. But this is the next latest news, y'all. George Floyd's daughter. They're not suing Candace Owens. They are suing Kanye West for $250 million. over an interview with the Drink Chumps. And I call them Drink Chumps for a reason, as you can all figure it out. During the appearance, the rapper falsely claimed that Floyd wasn't murdered by former police officer Derek Chauvin, but that he died of fentanyl. It's currently unclear if those aforementioned associates include Candace Owens, as West plucked the debunked claim about Floyd's death from her Daily Wire produced documentary. And did Kanye profit off of the documentary? If you ask me, Kanye has been being shitted on, for lack of a better term, left and right, not being taken seriously. Because if you all understand the issue with defamation, part of it is that people who are listening to it are likely to believe it. Let's just take a look. We understand they're interested in the child, protecting the child, and we get it. For someone who has held himself out as an ally and supporter for the family, to now see him reversing course and ratifying Owen's comments and her extreme views is really disappointing. That documentary was offered by a person who we know is on the far right with an agenda. Now you essentially see Kanye West advocating for Derek Chauvin? No, I don't get that part. I don't see that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Because I like to see things and I like to be the one to be able to let you know if there's something there. But I don't see Kanye West as advocating for Derek Chauvin. Who is this Merritt person? Who is Merritt said Floyd's family felt betrayed by Kanye West, especially considering the rapper previously said he made significant donations to Floyd's family. And, oh, wait a minute, and established a college fund? Ladies and gentlemen, wait a minute. Hello, y'all. What's happening? What's happening? Check this out right here. While speaking with Rolling Stone, Merritt, who I guess is a lawyer, Merritt said Floyd's family felt betrayed by Kanye West and his comments, especially considering the rapper previously said he made significant donations to Floyd's family and established a college fund for his daughter. Are they saying that he did not do this stuff? Are they saying that Kanye West did not donate to the family? Are they saying that Kanye West did not establish a college fund for the daughter? Where is the proof that he did? No. What the reality is, in that article, they would say that he didn't. If you haven't noticed, Nikki, this is let's all dump on Kanye season. So in that article and in some article involved in this lawsuit, they would say he had nothing. He didn't do anything. Trust me, you would too if you were involved trying to get this dude's money. Here it is. CNN. Kanye West has made a $2 million donation to support the families of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. A representative for West told CNN the donation includes funding for legal fees for Arbery and Breonna Taylor's family, along with Black-owned businesses in crisis in his native Chicago and other cities. West's representative said he established a 529 education plan to fully cover college tuition for Gianna Floyd, 6-year-old daughter. Wow. West's donation comes as demonstrations against Floyd, Arbery, and Taylor's death have taken place around the world. So I have to say that was if this is what Kanye did, and again, they're not denying it, and it's a very big deal. You got people asking, where's the proof that he did pay? And yeah, you talk to CNN. That doesn't give him rights to say that on Drink Champs. How do you know? Are you a lawyer now, Nikki Justice, or are you on the run? And the court is what would find out. It's the court, right, Nikki Justice? The court is what would say he said the wrong thing on the champs. You have a right to say whatever you want, but the thing about it is, you will probably pay some consequences for some things you said if a consequence is forthcoming. So yeah, you have a right to say whatever you want. You have a right. And now here we are looking at a lawsuit that many people are going to run behind. They're going to get all excited. They're going to think just because there's a lawsuit, they're going to think, ooh, they got him now. And you've already got people saying she'll win the case. Oh, isn't that unfortunate? There is something called a frivolous lawsuit, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all might want to familiarize yourself with the words frivolous lawsuit. Where is Kanye West's public relations team? Well, you know how that goes. I don't know if he's got any of that. And if he did, they were probably along with the Kardashians. If he had any public relations, right? It was probably related to the Kardashians at one point. And for many people with a legal mind, at least, the lawsuit will not have any standing. Let's just take a look at what defamation means, just in case, right? We want to make sure, because it's defamation is what they're saying. Kanye West spit in that Drink Chumps. It's the action of damaging the good reputation of someone. Slander or libel is what it is. She sued him for defamation. What else can we find? What's the legal meaning? What are the 5 elements of defamation? We all must familiarize ourselves, because she might have been able to sue Drink Champs also, if you think about it, right, Enigma? She might have been able to sue Drink Chumps. Because look, the 5 elements of defamation is publication of information is required, all right? They published it on Drink Champs. YouTube, they might be able to sue. It's published on YouTube. So we got that part down, right? Yes, it was a publication. It's required. We got that part. Yeah, you saw that, right, Tanae? The next one is the person being defamed was identified. All right. So far, so good. We're all talking about George Floyd. The next one, the remarks had a negative impact on the person's reputation. Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen, I think with a sober mind, we can look a little closer here. The remarks had a negative impact on the person's reputation. And if you looked at Candace Owens' documentary, you've got doctors there saying that in any other situation, in other words, if Floyd weren't right there where he got stopped and dealt with, in any other situation, if he had that same amount of drugs in his system, it would be considered fatal. Ladies and gentlemen, if you take like a little bit of fentanyl, it's dangerous. All right, so what we're going to deal with is whether or not Kanye West's remarks had a negative impact on George Floyd's reputation. We're going to leave that as questionable. We got the other 2, all right? We got the other 2. We're going to leave this here, all right? We're going to leave this here, weatherman. Let's go to the next one. The published information is demonstrably false. Okay, some people are going to point to medics that say, no, it was the knee on the neck and all that. But if it's questionable, who knows? All right, the defendant is at fault. All right. So it's very interesting. The burden is on the Floyd baby mama's families. It's their burden to prove that more likely than not, he ruined George Floyd's reputation. And that's one thing that George Floyd has got going against him, maybe. That's a good point, Kimberly. It would have been cool to hear Nori say that part. I would have respected that. Because as you see, Kimberly Dixon, in my video just before this one, there were Jewish people in the Drink Chumps studio. There were Jewish people like Steve Rifkin, who signed Wu-Tang. All right, there were Jewish people, 4 of them, in the same Drink Chumps studio, listening to Kanye. and Noriega was looking at his Jewish friends, his Jewish buddies, in that same studio, asking them, hey, is this all right? Is this all right? Is he going too far? And the Jewish people, the powerful Jewish people in the Drink Chumps studio at the time, they said, no, it's not a problem. I'm all right. It's no big deal. But Noriega felt he needed to go further on behalf of the Jewish people. You know, because they could have stopped what Kanye was doing immediately because, you know, Noriega knows where his biscuit is buttered. But did he defame the name and the reputation of George Floyd? That's going to be the question. Did Kanye West injure his reputation? Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you were just looking from the outside in, you weren't really reading up on anything, you're just looking, you would have noticed that there were various funerals for George Floyd, right? Do you all remember a funeral here, a funeral service there? There was like nationwide funeral services for George Floyd, the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. Not only in his area where he lived, but there was like a funeral or some sort of thing for George Floyd in more than one state. There's George Floyd. He's got statues everywhere. George Floyd services. Wait, look. Y'all see that? If you remember, if you were looking, you realized, wait a minute. This guy who had the situation with the police, he had a funeral service in North Kakalaki? He had a funeral service in Minneapolis? He had a funeral service in Houston? There was a world tour with Muhammad, my man. So when you have those type of services, and another thing, ladies and gentlemen, as was stated in the Candace Owens, it was repeated in the Candace Owens documentary, back in this time, they were saying that George Floyd's death was more significant than the death of Martin Luther the King. They were saying back then, and with all of this funeral memorial service, they were saying that George Floyd's death was more significant than MLK. This means he must have had a reputation. He must have had some sort of standing in the community. He must have been fighting for something to be comparing it like that. So if you remember, there was a narrative by the media sort of trying to paint George Floyd, you know, outside of the what was police brutality. They were trying to paint him as a martyr, someone bigger than, you know, all of this. And he had all of these memorial services, different TV programs and memorial services, his pictures everywhere. Black Lives Matter didn't give him anything. Kanye West probably donated more to George Floyd's family than Black Lives Matter. Keep the same energy against Black Lives Matter. Where was the George Floyd Memorial Service? I'll tell you where it was. It was in Minneapolis, and it was in North Carolina, and it was in Houston. It was in Houston, right? You think it was just Minneapolis, Minnesota? It was in Houston. Funeral for George Floyd held in Houston. The incident did not go down in Houston, y'all. So they made his death, they were saying his death was more significant than Martin Luther King's death. Just because you had a world tour, that doesn't make him more significant. Just because the media was, I don't like using that word significant human over another significant human. But goodness gracious, Fountain of Praise Church in Houston, and we just saw the last page. It was in Minneapolis. Minneapolis to bring you live coverage of the memorial service for George Floyd, right? You have this type of a movement, right? For one individual, because you got so many people, Land of Goshen Studios. Do y'all realize there's so many people that got killed by police? And you notice that the media is sort of telling you who we should care about. The media is telling you they're telling you who we should care about more. They're saying care about George Floyd. Unbelievable. And there's a statue and all of these things. People performed and they said his death was more significant. Let's see if we can find it. I'm not even going to type it all the way out. Death more MLK. I'm just going to put that. George Floyd death MLK. And if you remember, President Joe Biden said Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did. And you and I both know that Joe Biden has a tendency to exaggerate, a tendency to lie, a tendency to just speak in the moment, just like he says he was raised in a black church. He said in another speech that he was raised practically by Puerto Ricans. He said in another statement that he was raised, right? Can't really. Biden said MLK's death did not have the worldwide impact, plain and simple. And did they hide Joe Biden's statement? Did they hide it? If not, it might still be on video. It might still be on video. This seems to be a shorter. Oh, really? Coretta Scott King's sister was your professor. Hey, wait a minute. We're going to see here exactly.
But even Dr. King's assassination did not have the worldwide impact that George Floyd's death did. Because just like television changed the civil rights movement for the better when they saw Bull Connor and his dogs ripping the clothes off of elderly black women going to church.
We don't let any frail, senile white boy tell us what black funeral is more significant. I'm sorry, Joe Biden. I understand you've got a closer relationship with Charlemagne and you feel like you can say anything to black people. But some of us some of us are incredibly more intelligent and less of a bootlicker than Breakfast Club. So we're not going to sit here and just believe you, Mr. Biden, just because you had our votes. And I don't want to say our because I would never in my life vote for anything as racist and as damaging to the black family as the policies and the ideas of Joe Biden have been. So here we are in a situation where we've got a family, George Floyd's baby mom and his daughter are coming after a guy who donated $2 million and paid for college tuition already for George Floyd's daughter. This was back in 2020, which means George Floyd's daughter is probably 8 years old right now, 8 or 9 years old. He was looking ahead and her college is already paid for. Unbelievable. Biden is a lawyer? I don't think so. Nikki Justice on the run. Joe Biden, is that a question? Are you asking if Joe Biden is a lawyer? Because he's not exactly that. And now they're going after Kanye, or were convinced to go after Kanye, almost like Neytiri was sort of told and convinced that maybe she's got a rape case against Nature Boy when she was basically saying she made love with all of that. She was basically saying she made love with the cult leader. But then there were questions like, don't you think that it might have been, did you really want to be there? So it's very, very interesting as the lynch mob against Kanye West continues. Imagine slavery, no, imagine the days in some southern town, right? Mississippi, Alabama. Imagine some racist sort of area that still had the KKK and still had lynching, right? And imagine you had white people basically ready to lynch Kanye, a black man. And they had him. They're carrying him towards this lynching spot. And can you imagine y'all seeing a bunch of black people on the side saying, yeah, yeah, lynch him? Can y'all imagine that? Get rid of him, lynch him. Can you imagine a mob of white people with Kanye West in the middle, all bloody and battered, because they think he's done something? So they're taking him to his lynching spot where there's a cross that's sort of ready to be burnt. There, he's naked, and all the white women are too busy looking at his cock as he hangs there on the cross, being lynched by white folks now. He's the white folks, by white folks. Can you imagine all the sellouts, the house niggas, the coons, all on the side saying, yeah, lynch him. We don't like the fact that he made y'all mad either. We don't like the fact that he upset y'all. We so mad he called y'all, he said something about y'all. Take him away. Wouldn't that be sick? Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a legal update that Kanye West is being sued, $250 million. And we'll see where this goes. But I believe a couple of us, whether you're legal minded or not, can see through this one pretty clearly. And it just might be dismissed. But check this out. We don't know what judge this lawsuit is going to be in front of. And I say that because, as you know, judges can be bought, judges can be political, judges can make certain decisions outside the law, but for their own political situation. So we'll see how this goes. I thought it was very strange and odd that the daughter is suing him. And someone said in the chat that you can't defame someone who is dead. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that. Nikki Justice on the Run, I suggest that, you might want to relax with your statements. There should be questions at this point because you pretty much said some crazy things. And yeah, the last thing you said is also crazy. Because as you know, there are some judges that are elected. In other words, they are not appointed by politicians. At least that's what we should know, what the real deal is. So check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Under common law, and according to the definition, deceased individuals cannot be defamed. Defamation is designed as an act or statement that damages someone's reputation. The dead do not have reputations to damage. Is everyone listening here? Because someone in the chat reminded me and said, hey, wait a minute. Dead people can't be defamed. You can't bring defamation. Dead do not have reputations to damage. And if they did have a reputation, then it better be a pretty clean one. Because what I believe is the dude and fentanyl have been butt buddies for some time. Can you libel a dead person? No, it says in 2019, and I don't think anything's changed since COVID. But let's take it in the United States Supreme Court. You got to find actual malice. Yeah, I heard that. You still may have to find actual malice. You still may have to find actual malice, even in a case where there's dead person. A professor recently committed suicide. Rumors abound that he had been caught up in financial scandal, but he's obviously no longer around to interview. Is it possible to libel a dead person? No. While a person's estate, can continue to pursue a libel claim filed by a person before his death, in America, only a living person can initiate a defamation claim for damages to their own reputation. If they're right, only a living person can claim defamation for him or herself. Now, what was this other thing that I was looking at? Because we're looking at the publicity rights and defamation of the deceased here. And what they do here at this law school in DePaul is take a look at all the different cases that are involved here and see what it says. Elvis Presley was a pedophile. Had this statement been communicated in a matter during Elvis's lifetime, he would have been able to sue for defamation. Supreme Court justices, yes. Well, that's why we have to be specific in everything we say, right? If you don't remember, you said judges are appointed by politicians, which means, and in your case, yes, some, which would be Supreme Court to be exact, right? We're all about being exact. So here they gave an example of Elvis Presley as a pedophile, but you can't really bring defamation unless Elvis were still alive. And I want to see if we can get anything else here. Right? See if there's any other information we might want to get from this case. Because this is a pretty long thing here. But anyway, what this basically is saying, you got to really prove that he's really trying to be malicious. But if you remember the case, ladies and gentlemen, and you know that the police officer is in jail, the police officer that is responsible and has been ruled responsible for the death is in jail now. He has no access to anything. He's sitting in his cell all by himself, staring at the walls. And what it says here is, in the absence of finding of actual malice. That's the defamation doctrine. So you really want to know that it's malicious. And I can't say Kanye is being malicious. Was Kanye West saying, this crackhead, he was nothing but a crackhead. He was nothing but a... Was he being malicious, or was he basically stating one of the arguments in the case? Any living individual can sue for defamation. The dead cannot. An estate or relatives of a deceased person cannot sue for libel over defamatory statements. Right? We have to make that clear for the people in the back who just figured they're going to win this lawsuit without really getting into what the deal is here. What the deal is here. All these cookies, and you're like, yeah, I'll take the cookies. Give me some cookies. Companies can sue if the defamatory statement is in connection with its business or trading reputation, has caused or is likely to cause serious financial loss. So when you're getting into defamation, you're going to get into, wait a minute, there's some serious financial loss, or Kanye got some serious financial gain off of all that. Residents overseas, an individual can normally sue in the country where the statement happened. This is different. We're not talking about that. Right? We see that, right? Any living individual can sue for defamation. And I just want you all to know that there are many lawyers out here that would do anything and pretty much try to sue you for anything. Right? Can the relatives sue? Can they do anything? Privacy, when my pager goes off. It is a rule drummed into journalists and biographers that the dead cannot sue for defamation. But the European Court of Human Rights thinks otherwise. That's different. We're not dealing with the European Court. You find me? And the Guardian is on some European shit. Defaming the dead. You simply cannot. You can't, ladies and gentlemen. Defamation of a deceased person does not give rise to a civil right of action at common law in favor of the surviving spouse, the kid, the family, the baby mama, or any of them. And once you look and see that at least one of the claims being brought to court is silly and is frivolous, you're going to start thinking all of it is silly. You're going to start thinking all of it is frivolous. Is it possible to commit defamation against someone who is dead everywhere you look? In short, no. The dead cannot currently be defamed. And what did we say? By virtue of being dead, you have no reputation for someone to shit on. Now, let's imagine you did have a reputation that lasted after you die, right? Let's say you did have a reputation that lasted after you die. They're going to be looking at George Floyd's reputation. And I think that's what Candace Owens was sort of getting at the beginning of her documentary. The reputation of this man who's being, you know, who I don't know if his body was carried all across the country, but they had memorial services all over the country. He must have been a good man. He must have had a great reputation. And when it comes to this type of thing, ladies and gentlemen, your reputation matters. So it sounds like we've got ourselves a very sneaky, shifty case. And no, I wasn't saying any individuals, I don't remember who actually said that this was going to be a good case, because I was like, what? There's no way. But what you're going to see is people are going to use just the mere fact. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, this lawsuit has not been filed yet. Let's make that clear before I get back to work. This lawsuit has not been filed yet. This dude is worth $2 billion, allegedly the richest black man ever in the United States. But he's being sued. Oh my goodness. Yeah, motherfucker. He's being sued for $250 million, y'all. This is not about being a fan of Kanye. And ain't nobody out here saying, you gotta be a fan or anything like that. But look, if you look at any comments, I guarantee y'all, if you go to court, if you go to Twitter, you're gonna see so many people like, yeah, get him. Like the coons on the sidelines of a white mob with a black naked man in the middle that they want to hang. And you've got black people on the sidelines like cheerleaders, like mascots, like guard dogs. So you might end up seeing on Twitter, people are actually excited about it, right? They're thinking it's going to go down. They're thinking, oh, hell yeah, this is where he's really going to lose all of his money. This is where, because everyone's waiting to see Kanye West lose his money. Have you heard comments like that? Oh, he's going to lose it now. He's going to lose everything. They're waiting for it. As if he's not, smart in that sense. I don't know if he is or not. This might be a strategy to get Kanye to negotiate. To negotiate what? I mean, you sit down and you negotiate with somebody that you think has a claim. Look at this. Look at the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a lot of people who may or may not be informed of the law. And they're going to hear news of this lawsuit. And look what they're going to do. They're going to be like, oh my, blood is finished. And some people are like, he a billionaire, man. Even if it was 300 mil, he might be all right. He going to be all right. So some people aren't even worried because he got more money. This person says, what if this was all just a plot to get the Floyd family a $250 million? They're like, a plot by whom? Look at that. His time is now. Oh, wait, that's something else. You had people actually looking at this and replying to this story like they really thought it was going to go down. Look at hip hop. Now, understand, again, this might be the lawyer's way of just feeling it out, feeling out the responses But I'm interested in the comments of, people who, look at that. When you align yourself with Candace Ruckus, you're gonna get sued. You're gonna get sued. Look at all these people waiting to see him financially crumble. They can't wait. They hate seeing a black man with all this money. They can't wait. I want to see more comments. I want to see more Twitter. I want to see, but will they let me? Will they let me see? Kanye 250 million. Will they let me see, or do I have to log in and do it? Look at that. Look at that. The mother of George Floyd's daughter has filed a 250 million lawsuit against Kanye West for implying that he wasn't murdered by that cop. Look at this. Mother of George Floyd's daughter has officially filed this lawsuit. You got many people commenting. And this person, Don Lewis, who probably doesn't know anything. I hope George Floyd's family turns Kanye West into another Alex Jones. A 250 million lawsuit has been filed. They're hoping for him to fall financially. If you're thrilled, look at John Cooper. If you're thrilled George Floyd's family is suing MAGA favorite Kanye West for $250 million for defamation, I highly suggest you follow Call to Activism so you don't miss when Kanye is held accountable. What does that mean? George Floyd's daughter to sue Kanye West straight from TMZ. And let's see, let's look on TMZ, which is said to be basically run by the Kardashians. Let's see what those comments are going to say. Alex said the same thing about Sandy Hook. No, he didn't. See, Nikki Justice is one of those that just kind of type things because it feels good. Yeah, it's not the same. There's a reason why Alex Jones is pretty much guilty. He's saying it was a whole setup, like they weren't even real people. You got to know, y'all got to be careful. They need more money, somebody says. See what I'm saying? Look at that. Under TMZ comments with this article, some people are saying, shake my head. Other people are saying, they brought up the same thing that I talked about here. Kanye West donates $2 million. Yeah, nah, it can't be because the dude is dead. It ain't defamatory. You can't defame someone who has died because he can't defend himself. Right? He can't come out and say, no, I was not a fentanyl addict. Here's my receipts. He can't say anything. Apparently, he was getting high off of something right there in that car. He was sitting in for like hours. Kanye got on TV and spread lies, right? According to this person who, again, they probably don't know anything, but this is a feeling, this is an emotional response people are having. Mental anguish, yeah, I don't know about any of that. It's like get a therapist kind of thing. Mental anguish. Maybe it's something, maybe it's a law that people can change, though. Just because there is no present law, it doesn't mean that people can't work and fight to have a law changed. Some people are like, I hope she gets every penny of that 250 million. They're like, wow, that was fast. And the next person says, why waste time? Strike while the iron is hot. Strike while he's gone viral. Didn't some guy just get on the hook for 950? This is Alex Jones. Since he's a billionaire. What? See, look at all these comments under TMZ. Let's look at this. Someone posted this under TMZ, and we're going to look to see what it is. No life-threatening injuries identified, and this is George Floyd's name. This looks like some sort of official paper. No facial, oral, mucous, or conjunctival petechiae. No injuries of anterior muscles or of the neck. No scalp soft tissue, skull or brain injury. No chest wall soft tissue injuries. Rib fractures, none of this. And look down here. Toxicology report, which is very crucial, performed on some sort of blood specimen collected May 20th. The blood, drug, and psychoactive substances screened. You've got fentanyl all up in there, methamphetamines. But again, we don't know where this paper's from. We don't know where that paper's from, but it's on TMZ's site. Someone wants to reply, and then you got, but is that what killed him? Because if so, what the fuck is there a guilty party in jail? And as you know, dearly beloved, there are plenty of guilty parties in jail, plenty of people who are innocent in jail, so we can't say that, oh, he's in jail, he must be guilty. That would be an ignorant statement. And I'm not here saying that the officer was innocent. That's not at all what Mind Over Matter is saying. And here we go. Ye is making them prove it. So they are going to have to prove again that he wasn't on. You know, ladies and gentlemen, one thing that would help this family actually win this case. Check this out. Hey, Tyson, let me know if you agree. Here is one way a family could possibly win, and it sort of goes to reputation. This family could win, y'all, if it's tough, but the family could win if George Floyd wasn't even a fentanyl addict. Let's just say right? If George Floyd was not at all a fentanyl addict and somebody just comes out and says, shut your ass up, that dude died because he was high off fentanyl. Yeah, that's malicious. That would be malicious. You know what I'm saying? If it was proven that George Floyd wasn't really about no drugs. Defamation of a living person would be saying you's a drug addict, but you don't do those drugs. That would be defamation. That would be defamation. That would be malicious. He has to prove it. Kanye West doesn't have to prove anything. They have to prove this case, y'all. If you're bringing a case, the burden is on you to prove it. Kanye West can sit back and be like, whatever, we'll see. So we've got a lot of people who don't know much, but who are chock full of emotion commenting, and that's never a good look. People who are chock full of emotion, right? And have no real connection to what's really going on. Many people are laughing. Many people are like, that's awesome, dude. And then someone else says, why? He already gave her $2 million 2 years ago. It was supposed to be for college, but I guess they want more. And then someone else is like, what is this lawsuit the basis of what? She'll never see a dime. And I agree with this statement right here. I agree. Let's talk about only money. What was that? Please don't forget about Candace Owens. You might want to sue her too, right? Sue Candace Owens. How more money want Floyd's? What? How more money? Listen, Rolo Xavi Castro, get out of here. Seems a bit greedy, as he already gave her $2 million 2 years ago that he didn't have to give. Isn't that something, y'all? It's the United States of America where people sue anything for everything they can. Y'all see how it's going here? They need to sue everybody on Fox News. He was recounting a documentary he had seen. Sue the makers of the documentary as well. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying there's more people to sue, and they're only looking at Kanye, which makes it more suspicious. This is unbelievable, y'all. Is that the same daughter Kanye paid for her college? And that's $2 million, y'all. They're asking for, or they're actually for $250 million. Goodness gracious. Your first, last, and middle name is Sue. Sue Fruit. You should change your profile name to Sue Fruit instead of Sun Fruit. So because he did something nice, it means he can smear her deceased father. Look at this, y'all. I don't agree with this. She should have sued for $900 million. Wow. He should sue for his $2 million back. Now she will have to prove in court her dad didn't die of fentanyl. Autopsy already proved that was the case, so she will lose. Plus her family owes society $2 billion, for the damage done by Black Lives Matter in her name. No, they're not going to do that. She doesn't owe $2 billion. As bad as it may be, but I think Ye's got 1A protection here. If all he said is about how Floyd died, I don't think they have a case, as I'm sure he can point to evidence in the same trial that he believes. Well, as long as he actually defends it. What? These people on lunch. Look at Dr. Umar. Look at Dr. Umar. It's the daughter bringing the lawsuit. So it's understandable that the daughter and the mother are bringing the lawsuit. Well, the daughter's like 8 years old, so she can't really sue anybody. But that was the headline, that the daughter and the mother are suing. I'm sure he'll say he was off his meds to get out of it. You see what these people are saying? This is hilarious. Good. Kanye needs to be put in his place. Blue threw all their money already. They won't get anything. Plus, he can afford a way better lawyer if needed. Now he's going to have to rethink that parlor purchase. There's like opinions on both sides. And what we need, right, are more people who are educated on the matter. But still, it doesn't matter if you're educated, ladies and gentlemen, because at the end of the day, if a judge takes this case, which I think it'll be dismissed, but if a judge takes it, a judge can make some decision that's wrong. I think that was sage that he had in that thing. Dr. Umar had some sage in his hands. Oh, for Pete's sake, says Tracy. A lot of people have that opinion no matter what the jury said, right, about the fentanyl. And many have voiced that opinion. He donated $2 million to the kid. They've already made a ton off his death. It ain't worth $250 million. It's greedy at this point. Hopefully Kanye countersues her. Ain't that something? Wow, freedom of speech. Wow, your speech, wow. All that to say, ladies and gentlemen, not only should you do thorough research when you're looking into matters like this, you should really avoid your first opinion on matters. You should avoid, since we do live in sort of a knee-jerk society, right? The media forces you almost to be a knee-jerk, right? Which means a kind of a jerk, but it's a knee-jerk, which means you're just jumping to conclusions like that without even thinking. Get him! Without even thinking about, without even looking it up, without knowing the actual facts of the case. All right? And here we have someone, a mother, somebody, $250 million against Kanye. And you see what it said here, right? And I don't think it's fair. We all know she's about 8 or 9 years old, whatever. But all of these articles, if you notice, they would say George Floyd's daughter to sue Kanye. George Floyd's daughter to sue Kanye, right? George Floyd's daughter. This is for those who wonder, why do they keep bringing up the daughter's name? Why do they keep talking about the daughter? You talk to TMZ about it. You talk to TMZ without it. Right? And always make sure you are sharp as hell when you're speaking, because what I'm saying and what I'm seeing are a lot of people who are stuck in their emotions. And that's exactly where the media likes to keep black people. Stuck in their emotions. I'm not interested in Alex Jones. 950 million, it is what it is. He's got to deal with it. I'm not covering that case. It's not out of my hands. But this is why the daughter is being brought up. The daughter. And this is a channel where we're all about mind over matter, which means there's not much room for little emotional outbursts when you don't have no kind of facts. When you don't have no kind of facts of the case. And this is definitely not about being a fan of Kanye. It's about being a fan of what's right. It's about being a fan of what the truth is. And sometimes your worst enemy might be on the right side of the truth. Just like some of your best friends may be super emotional, but they may also be kind of ignorant. They may also not really know what the hell they're talking about. And they may also lose because they jumped the gun. They jerked their knee and became knee jerks in many ways because the media manipulated them into being that. And as Flavors of the Continent says, they have no case. Kanye should get his 2 million back. And that's going to be the question because if it's for college, right? Chances are the 2 million is in some escrow account somewhere. If Kanye West gave her money for college, chances are that money is in escrow somewhere that you can't touch it. That's why many people are like, weren't they given 2 million? Probably not really directly. Because if he's smart and if they know what the deal is, they would put the 2 million in escrow, maybe collecting interest, however much interest, until that kid goes to college. And then you'll get the money. So they don't have no $2 million now. And here's TMZ using the child. How can anyone say that an 8-year-old daughter is going to sue Kanye West? How? How? Nikki Justice, did you think about that question you just asked, or are you just typing? Think about the question, try to answer it yourself. Try to step outside of your own mind and answer your own question first before you come typing something. Look at that. George Floyd's young daughter. Oh, now here it specifies the mother, right? Now it specifies, once you get into the article, it says the young daughter, her mother, and their legal team are preparing to wage legal war against Kanye. Announcing, not filing a suit, they're just announcing, which is basically like saying, it's like the Bloods announcing to the Crips, hey, we gonna come after y'all, niggas. We gonna come after y'all, niggas. What does the $2 million that Kanye West gave to the kid have to do with the Drink Champ interview? Who connected 2 million to the interview, though? Who did it? Who did it? It has nothing to do with the interview. I don't think anybody's making that connection. What he said in the interview, some people are slow as fuck. What does that mean? Can we speak in full sentences? Full sentences, people, so we know what's going on. So now we see, right? The headline says one thing. George Floyd's daughter announces the lawsuit. But when you get inside after the clickbaits, right? You see the daughter, mother, right? Because the daughter's only 8. Look at the daughter right here. Is she suing anybody? Is she, she may be suffering some trauma, I guess. Maybe she's watching Drink Champs, which she should never be watching. It don't matter if Kanye West is on or not. She shouldn't be watching no Drink Champs. She's so cute. So they're saying she's suffering emotional distress because in her 8-year-old wisdom, she's hearing Kanye West out here talking that talk about fentanyl. And she knows what fentanyl is, or does she? Should she? So no, she's not doing the suing, ladies and gentlemen, at all. It's Witherspoon. It's some Democrat outfit, and it's unfortunate. Mr. West, we are contacting you regarding your recent statements in reference to George Floyd and his manner of death. Our offices represent Floyd's minor child and her mother, as you can expect. Our clients are very distressed, including the child, and hurt by these allegations you made. Mr. Floyd's cause of death is well settled through evidence presented in court of law during the criminal and civil trials. So they gave him a letter. Nevertheless, you have maliciously made statements that are inaccurate and unfounded, causing damage to Mr. Floyd's estate. Now, that's new. That's something new. As you know, there are a lot of lawyers that twist things around. Damaging someone's estate, there probably have been cases like this already in the past that just weren't successful. I watched
the George Floyd documentary that Candace Owens put up. One of the things that his 2 roommates said was...
See? Now he's saying what the two roommates said.
They want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. And the day when he died, he said a prayer for, 8 minutes.
Exactly. Love lawyers that twist shit around, just like the lawyers that are representing the mother of George Floyd's baby trying to sue Kanye. They are trying to twist shit around.
He said a prayer for 8 minutes. They hit him with the fentanyl. If you look, the guy's knee wasn't even on his neck like that. When he said mama is his girlfriend. They said he screamed for his mama. Mama was his girlfriend. It's in the documentary. But something that hit me, that fucked me up when I was watching the documentary, and it said they want a tall guy like me. When I looked at that image of him, this tall black dude with the bald head, he reminded me of somebody else. Who you think he reminded me of? Virgil. He reminded me of Virgil. You know what I'm saying? I'm not finna cry in front of y'all because that's how they get me, right? But I know that we lost him. And I know that this white company, Louis Vuitton, is now making statues of him, like as a martyr.
He's talking about Virgil again. He talks about Virgil a lot. The Floyd family, through the lawyers, Kanye's statements are blatantly false and malicious and all that. In the cease and desist, the family's lawyers demand Kanye remove the interview and all of his similar statements on George from the internet and keep Floyd's name out of his mouth. Keep your name out of his mouth.
So what say you about what Kanye said and what the family of George Floyd might do?
Well, just personally, I was really extremely disappointed. It's I guess a bit strange to be continually disappointed by Kanye West, but I didn't hear about his statements until Sunday morning when the brother of George Floyd, Monis, gave me a call and said he was irate. He was extremely hurt by the statements that Kanye West made. I had to go look up the interview and see that he was now blaming a drug overdose, a theory that was well debunked in court, as you all pointed out, something that is clearly not the reason that George Floyd died. He died as a result of Derek Chauvin's knee and the other officers compressing his body in a prone position. And now he's promulgating those statements anew.
All right. And like someone said already, hey, why aren't they suing Candace Owens, who made the documentary that Kanye's referring to? Because she doesn't have $250 million. That's your answer. Well, why aren't they suing Drink Champs? Well, because Drink Champs took it down. I don't know why they aren't suing these people, but I'm here to tell you that there's a good chance that this lawsuit is not going to move forward. And as you see, there have already been cases in court. All you got to do as a lawyer is go back to these cases, argue your argument, the same argument that they argued back here. You know, the same arguments that they argued back here. You as a lawyer, no matter what the reality is, you can file a lawsuit and you may lose. You may know you're going to lose, but hey, do what you can. So I'm going to end this here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for your comments here, for your input here as we look at this. And we shot down the whole idea that you can commit defamation against someone who's dead. And they're talking about the reputation of George Floyd, which may come into question again, but make no mistake about it. It's George Floyd's family that actually has to prove, right, that Kanye West was malicious. They have to prove that the dude did not die of fentanyl, right? And we just saw the toxicology report, which says there was no real injury to the neck. The toxicology report that we just looked at here on this channel said there was no injury to really the soft part of his head and all that. And the toxicology report that we looked at here on this channel said, yeah, they had a hell of a lot of fentanyl. And if you speak to the people and you realize it doesn't take that much fentanyl to destroy you, to cause your death. Can Fentanyl kill. And we're not saying this is what happened. I don't know. I wasn't there. But this is information on fentanyl and overdose. Even in small doses, it can be deadly. Over 150 people die every day, ladies and gentlemen, from overdoses or from fentanyl. Drugs may contain deadly levels of fentanyl. What is a deadly level? What is a deadly level? Deadly fentanyl level is what? The estimated lethal dose of fentanyl in humans is 2 milligrams. The recommended serum concentration, analgesia, is 1 minus 2, 10 to 20. And we saw in that sheet it was around 11. Blood concentrations of approximately 7 or greater have been associated. We saw in that sheet it was 11 on the toxicology report. But I've got a feeling people aren't really interested in that. And they're going to have to prove it had nothing to do with his death. They're going to have to prove it all over again, y'all. And it's unbelievable. It's unfortunate how the media and other interested groups and their narratives about George Floyd, and it's unfortunate what's going on, but what I can tell you this, chances are very good that there will be no real lawsuit and that these folks ain't gonna get no 250, they ain't gonna get nothing. It's not even worth coming to some settlement table. I don't know who typed that in the chat, but let's get a settlement, negotiate. Just cut all that out, all right? That's another sort of comment that was done without thinking, right? You have to at least at some point feel like you're somewhat guilty to settle. That's what these big pharmaceutical drug companies are doing. They're just settling. And in settling, what you end up actually admitting is you didn't do what was said that you did. The agreement that you agreed to in the end, in a settlement, you agree that the person that you're winning a settlement from, that you're not going to talk about the case, and that that person is not going to be seen as guilty of what, once there's a settlement, right? This means you're taking it out of the court's hands. Both sides in some way are going to be affected by a settlement. One side is going to be affected by a settlement because you're not going to get a judgment. So that's a good thing. But when you don't get a judgment, that means you're not guilty. You're not even, right? The other side is going to be satisfied by money. And of course, not continuing with the case. So you all have my opinion. I value everyone's opinion so long as you just think about it a little bit. You do some research, look up different cases. Don't just get excited because Kanye's being sued. You know what I'm saying? Look up cases. It's totally different altogether from Alex Jones' case. If you remember what he was saying about those deaths in Sandy Hook, it's nothing like the level of what Kanye West is saying. Because at least what Kanye West is saying, they've been saying about George Floyd. It's like it was in the toxicology report, all the drug, but whatever. Do some more research, ladies and gentlemen. Never be satisfied, okay? With your own opinion. Always back it up. Always be on that level where like, you know what, I don't know. Unless you're 100% sure. You know what I mean? People who are excited will be very disappointed. Yeah, of course. I'm advising you all and warning you not to get too excited, okay? You see the media games. You see the media games playing. They're announcing it first, ladies and gentlemen. Who does that? Do the Crips announce to the Bloods, we coming, son? They're announcing it. There's a press release and all this nonsense. It's a bit of a charade, but I don't even think they're going to get a settlement out of this. Hell no. And Kanye would be dumb as hell to sit down at a settlement table when he knows, and a lot of people already can tell, this is a frivolous lawsuit. Frivolous lawsuit. And it happens a lot in the United Snakes of America. It happens a lot. People want to be so litigious. People want to go to court so fast. And make matters worse, people think they're going to win. Frivolous lawsuit is a lawsuit with no legal merit. And you may ask yourself, why would someone file a frivolous lawsuit? You know, why would they do that? Well, because they ain't got nothing to lose. But a frivolous lawsuit is a lawsuit with no legal merit. And we literally showed, at least in this video, that there is no legal merit for a defamation claim against someone who's dead. And this is your boy Marwan, going back to work. Got a meeting in a couple, all right? Got a meeting at 4:30, right on time. Thank you all for joining and participating in the chat. Go on ahead and subscribe. You're only going to be subscribing to a sharp motherfucker who accepts all opinions, but I will challenge people to sit down, think about this shit, and temper your emotions, and you may find the truth, or you may approach the truth. Thank you all. This is your boy Marwan here at Mind Over Matter TV. One love, y'all. Peace out.